Who will challenge the Bucks in the East? What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. It is great to be here with all of you today. It is Friday, the 4th of December here in 2020, 11:35 on the East Coast. As always, joined along by Gavin Tony. Gavin, quick question. Am I the only one who feels that this morning has been absolutely long and forever, or is that just me?
Sir, actually, that might be just you. Take it from
I feel like this has been the longest. I've been up early, so maybe that's why. But I feel like this has been the longest morning ever. It's not even 12 o'clock yet, but I'm happy to be here for the show. So, with that being said, Gavin, how are you doing on this fine Friday?
Well, I'm doing great, Zach. I'm actually having a good day. I actually got a lot of stuff taken care of. Not school-wise, a little bit around the house, a little bit around the room-wise, sir. But the real question is, how long have you been up?
Makes you. I've been up 4.5, 5 hours now. I'm getting a little tired. I played some PGA this morning to burn some time. I got 2 classes, and they're about 5 hours apart. So,
ladies and gentlemen, for those who may right now, we run on the same schedule. That's why.
Yeah, it's brutal. But with that being said, we can get into it. I mean, we opened up today's show. We got a couple good things going for us today. We're just going to have a quick breakdown of the East as it continues to shape up. We're not sure any other major moves are going to be made at this time. So the rosters that we see in both conferences is probably what's going to be on opening night, which is 18 days from now. We are getting some preseason games as well. So we'll start with that, and then we'll go into some big news in the NBA as they have agreed not to be testing for marijuana this year. We're going to get some opinions on that, break that down and what it could mean potentially for the future of what types of drugs will be tested in not only the NBA but also the MLB as well as the NFL and even the NHL, the 4 major sports there. And then we're going to round out today. We got the power rankings out of the NFL. Not too much of a surprise as the Eagles continue to move towards the bottom. And then we'll be getting our picks for the week and the Eagles' keys to a victory in Lambeau Field. So let's get to it, though. Again, the rosters are pretty much set. Just to remind everybody, we got to take a look at what happened last year in the Eastern Conference because it shocked a lot of people. Everybody thought that was the Bucks conference to lose, and, well, they lost. But the Bucks were the first seed. Raptors at 2, Boston at 3, Indiana at 4, Miami at 5, Philly at 6, Brooklyn at 7, and Orlando at 8. We expect Milwaukee to be up there. I mean, it's hard to count out Toronto, but they are going to have to fall at some point. They simply are not as talented as the rest of the teams in the conference. Boston, I mean, they got worse in the offseason, to be honest with you. I mean, they brought a new center, but they lost Gordon Hayward. They got rid of him, didn't get much out of that. So I wouldn't say they're getting better. Indiana, I got no idea what to say. Victor Oladipo, I hear rumors in and out about him. Again, Miami's expected to be much better this year, and they already went to the NBA Finals last year. Philly, we hope is going to be better. I still don't have all the confidence in the world yet, but hopefully they'll start to come around on me. And then we know Brooklyn's going to be significantly better. And then another team to watch is Washington. And then the 9th team would be Charlotte. So, I mean, the current team I'd say to challenge the Bucks, it's Miami. No other team has proven yet that they're going to be worthy of dethroning Miami or Milwaukee as the best 2 teams in the East. But those are some of my thoughts.
Well, Zach, obviously Miami is the easiest choice because they're the ones that represent the East, and they're the ones that ultimately took out the Bucks. Miami's a smart pick, but Zach, I'm not smart 100% of the time, Zach. So guess where I'm going with this? The Brooklyn Nets are the team that's going to challenge the Bucks. Arguably, they could be first in the East. Here's why. Kevin freaking Durant is coming back. Zach, that's one. They got a great coach that's going to, that's going to let the players play. And you got Kyrie Irving coming back too. Ultimately, you got a nice key pieces who I like a little bit better than what the Bucks have surrounding Giannis. Drew Holiday's a nice piece, and Chris Middleton's that goes missing here and there. But when you look at their centers, you look at who do the Bucks have at center this year? It's not Lopez, is it? Or is he still there?
They still have Brook Lopez. His brother Robin did not stay with the team.
Brook Lopez is on the older side of the spectrum, and you got guys like Jared Allen, DeAndre Jordan on the Brooklyn Nets. So I'm excited. I think Brooklyn Nets are the biggest, I want to say the most team that can impact the Bucks or affect the Bucks. Zach, and then I'm gonna go with the hometown team. I'm gonna go with the Philadelphia 76ers. Why? You get Ben Simmons back. You got some shooters on your team now. You got a whole new coach and a whole new front office. Jerry Krause, as much as I don't agree with Jerry Krause a lot, Jerry Krause said, organizations win championships too. What they do, they go out and they get some shooters. They get Steph Curry. They get Danny Green, who I may or may not be fond of. They go out and get Maxey from Kentucky. Zach, this team has the potential to do some damage, but it falls around Joel Embiid's help Ben Simmons' willingness to shoot, mid ranges and Tobias Harris showing up or not. But Zach, also too, you talk about Boston. I think Boston took a major step back. People will not understand how much Gordon Hayward really means to this team. We're gonna find out this year.
Yeah, plus Jason Tatum back at the three, and he's going to pick up a lot of aggressive defense this year. They're going to try to scheme him out as much as they can. So I don't know if they're going to be able to work together this year. They really fell apart against Miami last year.
No no Kemba Walker for a little while. No Kemba Walker till the first week of January. So
And you're going to be stuck with Marcus Smart, so I don't know where that leaves him.
Marcus Smart's not the best offensive player. He has his moments, but his defense is where it's his strong suit. Zach, I think the East this year it looks like Bucks at 1 or Brooklyn. It goes Bucks, Brooklyn, Miami, give or take, but I think the Sixers could be third, then Miami. Then you want to get Boston in there. Indiana, if you know who stays, Victor Oladipo, which has been in and out. Then I gotta throw the Atlanta Hawks in there too. They made some nice pickups too that went under the radar, went unnoticed. You got Rajon Rondo, a great facilitator. All right. So you got Bogdanovich too, a great shooter. So I'm interested to see what they got going on.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's going to be another team. Them, Charlotte, and I mean, I guess you can say Orlando a little bit, but I'd say them, Charlotte are really two teams that are going to be on the up as they continue. And then Washington, of course. I think that even though Russell Westbrook might not be the most notable guy, bottom line is Bradley Beal's been kind of by himself the past few years. Now that you get another point guard similar to the success you had with John Wall, Washington can make some noise as well.
Washington, people don't like the Russell Westbrook trade to Washington. They think, but Zach, I look at it from this perspective. Bradley Beal is a shooter, right? Russell Westbrook is your driving, your finishing, and within the 15-foot line and 15-foot then out, and it hits a three here and there. If Russell Westbrook can turn up from the MVP season and Bradley Beal gives you the season he had last year, ultimately got disrespected in a lot of ways, Zach, they could make some damage in the East. I'm not talking finals. I'm talking if you in a series where it could be a
They
trap.
could turn heads. They could take a team out that could be expected to go far.
It could be a trap series. They could give Miami some troubles. They can give Boston some troubles. But it revolves around what Russell Westbrook you're going to get, and then Bradley Beal can continue to play.
Yeah, no doubt. That's going to be the biggest question mark for that team. Well, as we continue to talk about the NBA, some big news coming out just yesterday that the NBA has decided to suspend its testing and punishment for players for the use of marijuana. Gavin, we had an opportunity to chat a little bit off the show briefly about it. But, I mean, this is something that the MLB's done. I mean, I'm pretty sure they've been kind of doing away with that. The big focus has been PEDs, of course, performance enhancement drugs. The NFL, we know, is still pretty diligent with the testing on that. But, Gavin, I mean, what are some of your first thoughts about some of this breaking news coming out from the NBA to lay off this season in the 10-game shorter season, 72 games, to kind of limit the testing for marijuana, completely take it out and not really have any punishments for it?
Well, Zach, my initial thought was awesome. Awesome because it has nothing to do with the game. It doesn't make your game better, Zach. You're not gonna come out here and shoot threes better than Steph Curry out here. Zach, you said it best to me yesterday. It depends on the state you live in, right? If the state like California, give or take, let's talk about California, where marijuana is legal, and such as Denver. It revolves around the state and what that state does. But also, too, when you talk about the realm of sports, I never saw marijuana to be a problem in sports. My view of this is Zach. It's don't come to facilities high or game day high on your own time, Zach. What I mean by on your own time, I'm talking off season. If you let's say you don't have if you have an off day today and then you have practice and games the next 2 days, you don't do it those days where you have to work. You can do it on your off days, your free times, your off seasons, right? Zach, for those who may not know, marijuana helps with people's anxiety and stress and a few other things, and sometimes recovery. That's the big thing in the NFL is recovery and stress. But Zach, I was never a fan of them testing for it anyway because the last time I checked, Zach, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, does it give you superpowers? Are you going to be able to jump better than Michael Jordan? Are you going to be able to shoot better than Steph Curry? Are you going to be able to run quicker than Chris Johnson? Are you going to be able to, hit more home runs than Barry Bonds? No. All right. PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, are the ones that is in his name, Zach. It's in his name.
Yeah, no, I mean, you hit it on the head. It's something that should be a state by state thing. We know that from the legal side. As far as protocols for a team, if I'm a team, I'm like, you show up here with that, I'm suspending you. We're not going to test you for it if you appear to be normal and you're doing your job. I mean, there's not much question to go into that. But there's people that believe it should be flat out banned. There's people who believe you can use it whenever, wherever, as it refers to the NBA. And then there's a happy medium, and we hope that the NBA can execute it correctly and not mess this up, because this could possibly pave the path for a little more freedom for the players, just based on the legal side of the whole thing, and that will kind of allow teams, leagues, including the NFL and some others, to be able to kind of navigate and go from there.
Zach, you're correct. The happy medium. The happy medium would be don't show up to our facilities high or under the influence, or whatever you want the correct term you guys want to use for it. Don't come to our facilities. That's on your own time. All right, so that's the happy medium.
Yeah, for sure. So now coming up after this, the NFL, we got picks for the week, power rankings, and a few other key stories, including an interesting one out of Seattle. Could this be the move that could put them over the top as the best team in the NFC? Stay tuned.
We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode.
Here now, just a quick news story. Adam Schefter just tweeting out that it is possible that Matt Stafford could be traded in the offseason as Detroit starts to look into a different direction. Before we dive into some of our bigger stories, Gavin, where do you think, first team you think of? Detroit, Matt Stafford, where could he go?
I like Indiana for Matt Stafford. You got some receivers. You got offensive line down. You got some running backs down there. Listen, Zach, I know they have Phillip Rivers, but how much does Phillip Rivers really have left in the tank? And you have an offensive genius in Frank Wright. You can't go wrong with that. Then another team, Zach, I think of, you maybe could put him in with the Browns, but the Browns probably going to stay with Baker Mayfield. I don't know, Zach, but Indiana is the first team that comes to mind. Indiana, maybe stay in the AFC North, maybe take a Chicago job, but I like Indiana as this spot.
I like one. I don't know how popular it's going to be with San Francisco. Jimmy Garoppolo's been a game manager for a few years now. When he plays, they win. That's kind of the bottom line up until the Super Bowl, of course. But possibly, I know that contract is starting to come to an end. I think there's only 2 years on it, which is still going to be some dead cap. But if they can find a way to move that, bring in Matt Stafford, they prove they don't need the most talented quarterback to win. But to get over that hump, I think Matt Stafford, that running back room, that improved O-line, Kyle Shanahan, and next year that ramped up defense. Keep a lookout for them. But also, yes, Gavin, I agree, Indianapolis could possibly be a good spot as well for Matt Stafford.
Remember, Zach, Matt Stafford is a game manager, but he does more than his job. Goes on and gets the win.
He's talented. He's got one of the strongest arms in the league.
One of the strongest, and he was thrown to one of the best for a little while.
Yes, he was. And unfortunately, that career was cut short due to more Detroit mismanagement. But another big story coming out of Seattle, it is expected that after Josh Gordon's official reinstatement to re-sign with the Seattle Seahawks, making that wide receiver core quite interesting with Josh Gordon, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and David Moore. Gavin, do you like this move for Seattle?
I do like this move for Seattle. And I'm going to keep rooting for Josh Gordon because Josh Gordon is a guy that he was once, Zach, and correct me if I'm wrong, once was in the top 10, top 5 of receivers back in Cleveland. He was getting 10 catches, 100 and some odd yards. His battle is with marijuana and his usage, and he's opened up about it and talked about it. It was bad at one point, Zach. This is his third or fourth time being reinstated. All you can do is root for the best for him. And Seattle is a place, you got a guy in Russell Wilson, you got a guy in DK Metcalf, you got a lovable franchise. And it looks like a coach that would do anything for you. I'd love to see him get a second chance. Now, to answer the question, it doesn't put them over the top. It sure as hell gives him another weapon. It sure as hell gives Russell Wilson another person to throw to. DK, Josh Gordon, and then Tyler Lockett on the inside. It doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a great combination, a great blend. I mean, it could work. Remember last year that it took a pretty good effort from the Green Bay Packers to beat them, and they were out of their running backs. Their defense, of course, has not been great, and they didn't have Josh Gordon at the end. Josh Gordon now, as of right now, it looks like the running backs are healthy. I'm not sure if Rashad Penny is going to play this year. A hip pointer is a pretty tough injury to come back from at least the next year. But if he doesn't, they still have Carlos Hyde and Chris Carson, who's been playing like a top 10 running back whenever he's healthy. But then another question, too, and I know that this hurts as an Eagles fan. The Eagles played, quote-unquote, the worst pass defense in the league, but Jamal Adams was healthy again. Carlos Dunlap is becoming more efficient. And then, of course, they have one of their corners back. They expect to have another one back this week. Is it possible that the defense can not only become good enough to be able to stick up with their offense, but potentially become a better defense and become a game changer for them?
Well, Zach, they were never bad to begin with. They were giving up points and they looked beat and they looked like they were getting torched at sometimes. But they're getting healthy again. They weren't as bad as when we thought they were down. Zach, you talk about a Seahawks defense and Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner. The reason why I bring up Jamal Adams first was he was playing hurt for a little bit. Sunday night, even though it was against our depleted Eagles, he looked healthy again, Zach. He looked like the old Jamal Adams of old, flying across the field. Oh man, I wish we traded for him. That would be lovely if we had him in our secondary. Him and Darius Slay. Let me stop fantasizing. But Zach, the Seahawks are the most dynamic and dangerous team because when they were down, they were still winning games, and even though they were losing sometimes offensively, but they challenge the Saints as arguably the best team in the NFC right now.
Yeah, possibly. I think this is going to be a big change for them. Again, they need to run the ball. That's one thing that they like to do a lot. It allows Russell Wilson to have the pressure off him and then make the great plays when he has to. So with that being said, let's get into it, Gavin. It is the end, getting ready for Week 13 here. Time for power rankings. Without a big surprise, of course, we know who's going to be in the bottom spot. The New York Jets, not a surprise there. They lost 20-3 to the Dolphins, 0-11.
Zach, I speak for both of us. Fire Adam Gase.
They might not. They're just trying to tank at this point. Coming in at number 31, Jacksonville.
No. I just fire Adam Gase. Go ahead.
No idea. But Jacksonville Jaguars coming in at 31. They will be probably looking at a quarterback this year, even though Minshew really wasn't the issue, but they just can't win games.
They can't win games, and time for a restart. Well, not a restart, but just keep trusting yourself.
And coming in number 30, the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, once you lose your franchise quarterback, kind of tough to bounce back from that. Joe Burrow's been a good quarterback this year so far. It's a shame he'll be unfortunately missing out on the opportunity to get Rookie of the Year, which will more than likely go to Justin Herbert, but Bengals sitting at 30.
I don't know about Justin Herbert being Rookie of the Year, but Zach, I think Justin Jefferson deserves a little recognition. We'll get there. But going back to the Bengals, see y'all next year, basically. It's
coming in at number 29. We spoke about them briefly earlier. The Detroit Lions currently sitting at 4-7, which, by the way, is a better record than the Eagles, and they just fired their head coach and GM.
The restart is coming, Detroit. Restart is coming, but just not this year.
And coming in at 28, this is a big blow. The Chicago Bears, who were in the top 10 after their win over the Buccaneers, but blown out by the Packers. Mitch Trubisky looked fine. That team's just broken, and he did make a few mistakes, which compounds.
Zach, did you see what Matt Nagy had the nerve to say? We had to play like we care. We had to do this. We had to do that. Well, you shouldn't have took out the guy that was on fire when you guys were winning. Coach's mistakes, ladies and gentlemen. Coach's mistakes will cost you. They were
very, very costly.
They were 5-0 at one point.
Coming in at 27, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles faced the league's worst-ranked pass defense on Monday night and looked like they were playing on an 120-yard field going uphill both ways. Doug Peterson told reporters Tuesday he was given no assurance that he would keep his job through the end of the season, a stunning admission for the head coach who brought the Eagles their only Super Bowl win less than 3 years ago.
Cut the crap with the Super Bowl, Zach. I know that wasn't you, but that doesn't mean nothing no more. That doesn't mean nothing. Zach, I don't know how you feel about this. I'm gonna go quickly. Doug Peterson and Howie Roseman need to go before you get rid of Carson Wentz. Go ahead, Zach.
Every franchise almost makes a coaching change before a quarterback change. Coming in at 26, the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know. Will Mike McCarthy have a job after this year, Gavin? Or is he a one and done?
It might be a one and done.
25, the Washington football team. Quite an interesting one. Blowing out the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Antonio Gibson's continued to be a difference maker this year. They play on Monday in Pittsburgh, Gavin. What do you expect to see from that game?
I expect the Washington front to get after Big Ben and ultimately change the dynamic of the game and for them to run the ball for them to be able to pass the ball. They just lost Bud Dupree on the Steelers side.
Coming at number 24, the highest-ranked team in the NFC East, the New York Giants. Gavin, do you think that they're the favorites right now to win the division?
They're not. Daniel Jones is out this week, and who's the backup? Colt McCoy? Yeah.
Colt McCoy.
No thanks.
Coming at number 23, the Denver Broncos. They lost 31-3 to the Saints. Fun fact, Tom Brady scored the same amount of points as the QB-less Denver Broncos against the Saints.
Zach, fun fact, you ready? Drew Lock, dark horse MVP pick.
It's not his fault that he wasn't able,
Next
well,
year.
it was his fault, but he was not able to play this week. We'll see how he plays out. Number 22, the Carolina Panthers, 4-8, another team that, in my opinion, is better than their record shows. Continuing to move their way up, Gavin. Carolina could be for real in the next coming years.
Injuries are the reason why they're not as high as they should be in the record standings. I agree with you, Zach, though. Injuries took over their year.
Coming in next at number 21, it is the Houston Texans, who continue to move up on this list as they try to get to the top 2/3 on the list, Gavin. The Texans have put themselves in a deep hole. They're 4-7. They're probably not going to make a playoff push. Do you think they can get to 500?
Yes, I do believe they can go 8-8. There's a chance. If the schedule lines up perfectly, there's a chance. Romeo Cannell is a magic worker.
Yeah, I mean, that team's been winning ever since he became head coach. Not sure why Bill O'Brien still had that job after that D-Hop trade. But coming in at number 20, the Los Angeles Chargers, who are 3-8, just lost to the Bills. Gavin, is it time for Anthony Lynn to be done in Los Angeles?
I don't want to see Anthony Lynn fired. He needs one more year with Justin Herbert. One more year. And you need to get some more talent offensively. Maybe an offensive coordinator or a better one.
Possibly, as far as the play calling is concerned, play scheming, it's all important. You have a good young quarterback there. Number 19, moving up 2 spots after defeating the Rams on a game-winning field goal, the San Francisco 49ers, 1 game under 500. Can they make a push for the playoffs, or is it too late?
I think it's too late for them. There's still no Jimmy G, even though you got Debo Samuel and Richard Sherman and the boys back. Just regroup for next year and get ready.
Are they the favorite right now in the NFC West for next season, or is it still Seattle?
It's too early to call. I think it might be Seattle or Arizona.
All right, coming in next at 18, the Atlanta Falcons, who continue to begin winning some games. Raheem Morris as the interim coach, continuing to do his job for that team. Is Atlanta seriously starting to turn around, or is this fool's gold once again?
They might turn around, but it's too late for this year. But Zach, I will say this: the interim head coach deserves an opportunity at the head coach job for next year.
And coming in here at number 17, the New England Patriots continue to climb. They are sitting at 5-6. Gavin, another 5-6 team that's been notable in the past. Is it too late for them to turn it around?
Yes, it's too late. It's up and down every time with the Patriots. It's up and down, up and down. Just stay down, regroup for next year. There's not enough around Cam Newton.
All right, and the next one at 16, another former playoff team, the Minnesota Vikings, 5-6. We imagine this is probably too late as well. But Gavin, just a reflection on how do you think Minnesota's done this year?
2 words: Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson and, well, another 2 words: Dalvin Cook are the reason why they're doing it. There's nothing to worry about this defense, Zach. And Kirk Cousins is nothing special. Those 2 guys.
For sure, another team continuing to build their talent. They actually build it correctly to an extent. They extended Kirk Cousins. Not sure if they're going to like that or not. But coming in at number 15, a team that has fallen a little bit off. The Miami Dolphins are 7-4. They just came off a win with their backup quarterback, per se, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Tua is expected to play this week. They play the Bengals. It should be an easy win for them, in all honesty. But, Gavin, how do you like Miami at 15?
I do like Miami at 15. Remember, they picked up steam last year at the end of the year. They got a huge win versus the Patriots at the end of the year. Brian Flores is going to be coach of the year this year, ladies and gentlemen.
As he should, either him or Mike Tomlin, in my opinion. Coming in at 14, the Arizona Cardinals. They were 6-3 2 weeks ago. Now they're 6-5. They got a tough one coming up against not San Fran, but they play the Rams this week. Gavin, if they lose this game, they're 6-6.
All good things must come to an end, Zach. The high of Kyler Murray is coming down now. Now he has to start winning games again.
For sure. Again, they were 6-3, sitting at 6-5 now. At 13, the Cleveland Browns, 8-3. They play Tennessee this week. We'll get the predictions in a minute. But, Gavin, how do you like the Cleveland Browns, 8-3, sitting in the 14th spot?
It's a nice spot right there. Remember, I still haven't seen much of Baker Mayfield.
And coming in next, the 6-5 Baltimore Ravens, sitting at number 12 after losing. Right now, they have lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, again with their backup and third-string quarterback in. So there's not much to look at. But they're 6-5, Gavin. Things are not looking so good right now in Baltimore.
They'll be 11-5 at the end of the year. Watch that.
We'll see if they can turn it up. I'll be excited to see. Coming in at number 11, the Las Vegas Raiders, after an embarrassing blowout loss last week to the Falcons. Derek Carr having 4 turnovers in that game. Gavin, once again, like last year, they blew up in December. Are they going to do it again this year?
It looks like it, Zach. It looks like it. Zach, remember, I kept telling everybody, I said the Raiders went out of it at the end of the last 4 games of the season, but they had a horrible December. So it looks like it's going to be another horrible one this year.
And coming in at number 10, the Indianapolis Colts after a blowout loss to the Tennessee Titans. Gavin, Colts at 10.
I like Colts at 10. That's a perfect spot. Remember, this Colts team has defeated some tough teams, and even though they lost, got humiliated, but they'll be all right.
Yeah, and that could have been a revenge game after the Colts won in primetime in Tennessee. Coming in at 9, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Just 2 games over 500 right now, Gavin. Things are not so tropical right now in Tampa for that team.
Ooh, I like that one. And guess what, Zach? I got this one. Trouble in Paradise.
There you go. Trouble in Paradise in Tampa Bay.
Trouble in Paradise is what I'm going to go with. They need help.
Help in what way?
You got to get the ball out of Tom Brady's hands quickly. That's what made him great. You got all these Zach, going back to that Monday night game versus the Rams, he did not complete. His deep ball percentage was horrible in that game. Once Tom Brady has to start throwing deep, that's when you know you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat. And what happened to their so-called good defense that we were raving about?
Yeah, their defense past 3 weeks has been terrible. Towards the end of the game, they scored about 2 touchdowns on 2 drives. They were doing screens. They were using Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones more. That's the kind of style that Tom Brady uses. You got to start using that more. You got to learn how to use him. If they don't do well this year, the blame's on Bruce Arians. He has not been able to adjust to how Tom Brady plays.
Zach, real quick, do you think Bruce Arians goes at the end of this year?
If Josh McDaniels is available, absolutely. Tom Brady you can't take Tom Brady and say, fit my system. Tom Brady has been playing for 20 years the same way. You got to fit his system. And they failed to do that this year. Despite that, they're still 7-5. Coming up next here at 8, the Los Angeles Rams, 7-4. They were pretty high a few weeks ago. They've fallen back after losing last week to the Rams. They lost to the 49ers. Gavin, do you like the Rams where they're sitting?
Well, yeah, you did take an embarrassing loss to yourself. Almost technically, Zach, you kind of did beat yourself when you think about it. But yeah, Zach, there's a perfect line. They're going to bounce back this week, but all in all, this is a fine spot.
And coming up next, the Buffalo Bills, 8-3. The infamous Hail Murray, as we call it, from Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins. If it didn't work, they'd be 8-2 right now, Gavin. I'm sorry, 9-2. But 8-3, ranked 7. How serious of a threat are the Buffalo Bills in the AFC?
It's as far as Josh Allen takes them. Remember, Zach, Josh Allen did something stupid in his first playoff game last year. He didn't go out of bounds and he fumbled the ball, and history was right there and it ended. Josh Allen's an amazing player, but you got to keep him somewhat in line.
And coming up next, the biggest jump up, the Tennessee Titans, who have been up and down this year. They had a unfortunate loss a couple of weeks ago against the Cincinnati Bengals. But they're sitting at number 6 right now, Gavin. 45-26 win. They play Cleveland this week. If they beat Cleveland pretty handily, they'll be in the top 5.
Zach, get your popcorn ready because it's that time of year where Derrick Henry gets rolling. Literally gets rolling. We saw it last week. We're going to see it again this week.
Coming in number 5, the Seattle Seahawks after their victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. Their defense continuing to get a little bit better every week, and the offense continuing to do their job.
We touched on it. Their defense is going to get healthy. They're going to keep moving up.
Coming in at number 4, the Green Bay Packers, who played the Eagles this week. 8-3 right now. Gavin, how do you keep up Green Bay going into this week?
It's going to be a tough one. For some reason, the Eagles always play Green Bay tough. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles somehow pull out a magic win, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we hope so. Coming in at number 3, the New Orleans Saints. Right now, Taysom Hill 2-0 is a starter right now. 3, New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, but Taysom Hill got exposed last week, Zach. There was nothing to like about Taysom Hill in that game versus no quarterbacks. Zach, if you have film on Taysom Hill, he's not going to do much on you.
We'll see how it rolls this week here. They play the Falcons, which they played just 2 weeks ago with Taysom Hill's debut. Number 2, I'm sure you'll like this one, Gavin. The Pittsburgh Steelers currently sitting at number 2 in the power rankings on the NFL. Do you like Pittsburgh at 2?
I do like Pittsburgh too. Cakewalk schedule. All right, you didn't really beat nobody this past Wednesday. Weird to say Wednesday, Zach. And yeah, be a noble, good team. But just
finally,
go ahead.
Finally coming in at number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. Gavin, I'm guessing you like them right there.
I do like them right there. That's the best team. They came out and they beat a really good Buccaneers team, and they not just being, they demolished them. Even though the score won't show it, but Zach, you saw the game. I saw the game. It looked demolished. And ladies and gentlemen, for disclaimer, I'm not a Chiefs fan, but I gotta give credit where credit is due.
Absolutely, the defending Super Bowl champions continuing to show why they are one of the best teams in the NFL. Coming up after this, NFL scores, our predictions, picks, And our predictions for the Eagles game at 4:25. Unfortunately, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo on the call. Not for them, or sorry, not for us. We like hearing them as the top CBS team, but I gotta make them do the Eagles game. It's just torture. Stay tuned.
Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this.
All right, it's that time of the week, Friday, 12:06. It is time for the picks, and in just 49 hours, the first games will be kicking off of the weekend. We will do all but 3 games today. Of course, there are 2 games on Monday next week and a game on Tuesday, so we will do those on those appropriate days. But let's get through all the Sunday games, Gavin. Let's start with it. 1 o'clock in Atlanta, Saints-Falcons. Gavin, who you taking?
I like the Falcons in this one. Zach, they got embarrassed offensively last time they played. The Saints defense got to them, but I don't think they're going to do that this week.
They've been on a roll, but I am going to go with the Saints. I think they've just played them too much. Sean Payton knows how to coach that team. It is in Atlanta, but I think that the Saints sneak away with this one. The next one is the Browns and the Titans in Tennessee. Give me Tennessee. I like how they're looking this week. I think they're going to continue with their hot streak and take down the 8-3 Browns.
The one thing that the Tennessee Titans have is a great run defense. Guess what? The Browns are a great run team. The Tennessee's is better. Give me Tennessee as well, Zach.
It's going to be a quick game. Both teams very run heavy. The clock's going to run. Those are going to be quicker games.
If Baker Mayfield starts to throw, then the game is over automatically.
Last year they played in week 1, and the Titans easily won that game with Mariota at quarterback. The next game, the Detroit Lions visiting Chicago to play the Bears. This is a close one for me. Gavin, I'll let you go first. Who are you taking?
I'm taking the Detroit Lions for the emotional pick. You get rid of your coach and suddenly, and your GM, and suddenly things look clear, and Matt Stafford's on the move. Got to get his trade value up. Give me Detroit this week.
I'll take Chicago. Bold pick. Mitch Trubisky, 3 touchdowns, 300 yards passing. Solidify and earns his starting job back. Maybe 50 rushing yards as well. Mitch Trubisky bounced back against Detroit. The next one is the Cincinnati Bengals and the Miami Dolphins in Miami. Give me Miami in this one. Cincinnati's on their way up, but unfortunately losing Joe Burrow makes it very hard for them to compete in these games.
Give me Miami. It's just easy. There's no Joe Burrow, and that was kind of your offense right there. So just give me Miami easily.
Another interesting game here, the Jags and the Vikings. I'll take Minnesota. Dalvin Cook, another big week coming up.
Give me Dalvin Cook easily, but it's not going to be Dalvin Cook that does it. It's going to be Justin Jefferson every week. Howie Roseman looks like an idiot. I think Justin Jefferson gets in the end zone twice.
And the next game coming up, the Colts and the Texans. It's going to be an interesting one. It's in NRG Stadium. T.Y. Hilton tends to do really well there, but I'm going to take Houston. They're on a hot streak. I like where they're going. I think they're going to continue to bounce back and make a little bit of noise, maybe not go to the playoffs, but make some noise to say we're still here. Deshaun Watson's still a good quarterback. Give me Houston.
And you said it was Houston versus the Colts, right? You cut out.
Yep. Yes, Indianapolis.
I'm taking the Colts this week, Zach. I like Houston. I like what they're doing, but the Colts are just a better team, and they have better weapons.
All right, the next game coming up, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Jets. I don't know. I'm smelling an upset.
Are you picking the Jets, Zach? Is the number one Adam Gase haters? I'm number 2. Is picking the Jets?
It's hard to tell because the Raiders are twirling down. They just they went toe to toe with the Chiefs, and I want to sit here and say the Jets will be. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Jets beat them last year.
Zach, I'm never picking Adam Gase. There's no way in hell I'll pick Adam Gase. Give me the Raiders. John Gruden, don't disappoint me.
All right, I'll take my upset pick. I'm taking the New York Jets over the Las Vegas Raiders.
Can I get a breaking news? Can I get
New York?
Can I get a breaking news? Can I get one of those little headlines we get?
All right, Gavin.
There we go. There we go.
I will be picking the New York Jets over the Las Vegas Raiders this week. For the first time this season, I projected Jets to win a game and finish the season 1-15. Of course, they will not win anything else, but Let's see if my prediction can somewhat be right. The next game, the Danny Dimeless New York Giants go into Seattle against the Seahawks. Give me Seattle in that one.
Seattle wins by 28.
And the next game, the Los Angeles Rams against the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. Gavin, who are you taking in this one?
I'm taking the Rams. Zach, this defense is on point, and Kyler Murray has cooled off ever since that Hail Mary, as you like to call it.
It should be three losses straight for them. They should be below 500 technically right now, but that Hail Mary did save them. Give me the Rams. Bounce back week. Jared Goff needs to come back out there. Sean McVay held him accountable last week for his turnovers. I think that they're going to be fine this week. The next game, the Patriots against the Chargers. It won't shock me if New England wins this game. They just know how to coach out there against the Chargers team, and it's pretty easy to outcoach the Chargers, in my opinion, because they've just been in way too many one-possession games this year. It will be a close game, of course, but give me New England.
Anthony Lynn, you need a win this week. I'm going with the Chargers, plain and simple.
See if Herbert can get his third win on the season. The next game we will skip because it's the Eagles and the Packers. We'll get to that in a minute. But the Sunday night game this week, the Broncos and the Chiefs. Who are you taking, Gavin?
I'm going to take the Chiefs easily. The last time we saw Broncos-Chiefs, it was snowing, and Patrick Mahomes did Patrick Mahomes things. Well, guess what? No snow, hopefully, and going even better. I'm going with the Chiefs, Pat Mahomes, 4 touchdown passes.
Yeah, not sure why this game has not been flexed out of Sunday Night Football, but that's all right. We're not in charge of the NFL scheduling. Over the week, we're not going to do these games yet, but Washington, the Steelers, the Bills, and the Niners in Arizona, Cowboys and Ravens, and then Thursday Night Football, quick turnaround for Joe Buck and the crew as they do the Patriots and the Rams, and of course next weekend we'll get into as it progresses. But let's get to it. Green Bay Packers hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm pulling up right now as we speak the Green Bay weather so I can kind of get a good understanding of what it's going to look like. But Gavin, I'll let you go first. What are you thinking about for this game?
Well, Zach, you left the club early yesterday, and let's just say there's some wings riding on it. If I get this prediction correct, and the other one you'll find out on Monday, if I get that prediction correct. I'm going with the Eagles this week. Zach, something tells me about the Eagles. Something tells me that Carson Wentz is going to go to Green Bay, and the formula for this week is run the damn football. All right? It's plain and simple. You ran it down the throats last year. What, Zach, 3 touchdowns? You were there to see it.
Jordan Howard, 3 total touchdowns.
And Miles Sanders had a big run as well. Zach, run the damn ball this week, and Carson Wentz is going to shut the haters up, hopefully. But it's not going to be enough to save this idiot Doug Pearson's job. Thank you.
Give me Green Bay. You're not stopping Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Darius Slay's not going to do it. I'm sorry. He's a good corner, but this is a very good wide receiver. I don't trust Jim Schwartz to scheme correctly. There is nothing from this football team in this season that gives me any sort of thought that they can win this football game. The reason last year that we knew they could beat Green Bay, they won against Washington week 1. They barely lost week 2 to Atlanta, and they should have won week 3 against Detroit. Short week, they go out to Green Bay, they win that football game. The defense last year was efficient. Carson Wentz was very efficient game manager-like in that game, and the run game was unstoppable at that point. There's nothing I've seen in this season that gives me any sort of hope for this football team. Keep in mind, after that, hold on, keep in mind, they beat the Jets the next week. I was also there. They beat the Jets. All right, not impressive, whatever. The following week, you get crushed by Minnesota. The following week, you get crushed by Dallas. You go into Buffalo. We knew they'd probably win that game because we saw hope and promise early in the year. They beat Buffalo. They come home and beat Chicago. They go on the bye. They lose a close one to New England. They lose a close one to Seattle. They go into Miami. They completely get embarrassed. Offense was good that game. They go home and they beat the Giants on Monday night. We know the whole story. Washington, Dallas, New York. Carson gets hurt in the
Magic run. Magic run.
And they ran the ball towards the end of the year. Carson Wentz was the quarterback. For those who forget, last year Carson Wentz was the quarterback who played and earned his starting spot. Again, we know that we drafted Jalen Hurts and Carson Fields needs to prove himself again. This year, there's none of that. This year, this team doesn't look good at all. There is nothing about this football team that shows me any little bit that they have a chance of winning a football game. They are not going to win this week. I hope they win, but they're not going to. As much as I would like to say that Green Bay's defense is terrible, at least from the running perspective, it is. I don't trust the Eagles to run the ball, and it's going to be 14-0 within the first 10 minutes of the game, so the run game's going to disappear anyways. This game is not going to be close. I hope they win, but the Eagles will not win this football game. I will come on Monday. No surprises there. If the Eagles do win, Gavin, we will get some nice wings. But, again, I'm an Eagles fan. I want them to win, but there's nothing from this football team that makes me believe they want to win. There's nothing from this football team that shows that they're talented enough. Adrian Amos and some of those other great cornerbacks against Fulgham, Rager, Jeffrey, good luck. It's going to be ugly, sloppy, nowhere near close, no creativity, stale offense. Jalen Hurts will probably get in some legit snaps towards the end of the game because it will be so blown out of proportion. This is a disaster. Not a good football team. Not our year. Sorry.
Well, I feel good about this week, Zach. I don't know why. I guess I'm delusional, and I guess I want some wings too. That might be my problem. But Zach, I agree with you. There's nothing to like about this team, but the one thing I have to question is their heart. Do they still even have heart offensively? Do they have it? I know defense has heart. I mean, Darius Slay was upset with himself about it. That wasn't his best performance. We get it. It's okay. I got to question the heart of the offense. I question the play calling of Doug Pearson, which I'm tired of doing because I question him every day about it. But Zach, if there's one thing I do know is that if this team has heart like they did last year, and what I mean by heart is they ran the damn football, we could win. Remember, this is one of the worst rushing defenses that you love to point out to me every time I talk about the Packers record that you were oh so wrong about. But Zach,
They can still 8-8. They're 8-3 right now.
Gentlemen, if they win this week, they may go not. This expedition is wrong. But Zach, I will say this: if you run the football, magical things will happen. Remember, you ran the football against arguably supposed to be the best rush defense in the Steelers, and you got a 61-yard touchdown off of it. And nothing else after that. You got a long rushing touchdown versus the Giants. Boston Scott, the Giants killer, and then nothing else after that. Running the football has success. It takes time off the clock, which gives your defense a rest, which because they need it, Zach. And then it also takes the pressure off Carson Wentz. So when he does have to drop back and throw, he has a legit chance to throw. I don't know. Zach, these wide receivers are disappointing, but at some point, garbage has to turn good. You know, you can't just keep taking L's after L's and not figure there's something going wrong. If your quarterback is stressing running the football this week, you better hand the damn ball, run the football. And by the way, Zach, remember when Carson Wentz used to audible out the plays and do different things? I haven't seen that much anymore.
His mental state, in my opinion, is not where it needs to be elite. He's physically there, but mentally he's got to reset. Zach Ertz is back this week. Dallas Goedert's there. Throughout this year's playbook, go back to last year's. Just do something. But there's no reason to believe that this football team will win this week. I hope they do, but more than likely.
Zach, if I'm right, you're buying me wings.
All right. More wings for me then, I guess. I mean, more. We are overdue to go to PJ's again, which we will have to get to soon again.
We are.
But with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope the Eagles pull a victory. I'm sorry for the pessimistic rant, but I'm just trying to be real. The Eagles have their franchise quarterback, whether you want to believe it or not. I can sit here and argue with you for days. Pro Football Focus has Eagles O-line ranked at 28. I mean, you can cherry pick data from 2.5 seconds like we looked at this morning and make it look like they're somewhat mediocre. But no quarterback gets the ball out of their hands every single play in 2.5 seconds. So sometimes that can come back to bite you.
Like I said today and this morning, I go to the only Jalen Hurts fan we have in there, the hardcore Wentz hater, and I said, all these stats that we just talked about with the offensive line, and my exact words were, what the hell do you think Jalen Hurts is going to do? And his first thing was, get out the pocket. I'm like, but that doesn't mean anything if, once again, nobody's open.
And that's also a coaching thing as well. Zach Ertz will be open this week, I hope. If they put their best corner on him, if they put Zaire Alexander on him, oh my goodness, Fulgham might actually get open for once. But Tank,
you got people that can catch the ball. I will say that. Fulgham can
Tank, draft Micah. I mean, do some trading. Maybe get Jamar Chase in the first round. I don't know.
Maybe get 2 first-round picks, but
don't be stupid and get a rookie quarterback and start from scratch. There is no need to do that.
Zach, we're going to get Justin Fields.
There's no need. Go ahead.
We're gonna get Justin Fields. We're gonna get Justin Fields, and him and Jalen Hurts are gonna duke it out for the starting role.
There is no need for this football team to draft a quarterback. Nothing. No reason. The healthy O-line and Carson Wentz will guarantee you an 8-8, 9-7 record every year. Give them a damn good defense, and you give them some weapons and a competent coach, and you win the Super Bowl. That's the only evidence we have of that. The only time we've seen Carson with healthy weapons, a fully healthy O-line, a good defense, and a good play caller and play developer, they won the Super Bowl that year. He went 11-2 as a starter and should have won MVP. So until all those factors exist again and your quarterback is then struggling, then yeah, let's get rid of him. Until then, Carson Wentz is a starting quarterback. I can argue that for days on end. It's not defending him. It's stating blunt facts and using historical data to prove my point.
Well, Zach, you make a valid point, and it just popped in my head. You said it best to me when I wanted Baker Mayfield going, right? He out-survived Hugh Jackson, Freddie Kitchens, or Hitchens, or it doesn't matter, irrelevant. He's gone. And now he has Stefanski. If he fails to Stefanski this year, which is not, doesn't look like it's happening, then it was time to get rid of Baker Mayfield.
He's got Stefanski, the best running backs in the NFL, a great O-line, great defense. That's all you need.
But the point I'm making here is,
and Baker Mayfield was a turnover machine last year. Don't ever tell me that Carson Wentz is the first thing to go on this football team. Anybody.
But yeah,
and they got Andrew Berry, the former vice president of operations for the Eagles, as their GM, and they're making good decisions. So,
by the way, Zach, real quick before we go, before you get rid of Wentz, Doug Pierce have to go first?
Or at least look, the best thing that's going to happen for this team is you get rid of Howie Roseman and you bring in an offensive coordinator. And Doug gives up the play calling. And damn it, draft good players. Draft Micah Parsons, trade Zach Ertz, package him for another first rounder, see if you can get Jamar Chase and Micah Parsons. It's crazy, but that's the kind of thing that you could use right now.
Do it that way, and Marquise Goodwin's supposed to come back next year, ladies and gentlemen. Not going to make a big.
He's the same story as some of these other guys. He's fast. He's not a disciplined route runner. You need route runners. Get Odell back in the offseason. I like Marquise Goodwin. He's a nice guy. Seems genuine.
He has a nice story too, Zach. I don't know if you ever.
Great story. I've read all about it. I watched his football game live at the very emotional one. For those who don't know the full story of it. He's a good guy. I'm not ever going to question someone's personality. I don't question anyone except for maybe Alshon Jeffrey, but I don't question anybody personally when we sit down and talk about this. I'm simply talking about what I see on the field and what I definitively know. And what I know is that Marquise Goodwin's a burner, and the Eagles could use a burner.
The one thing about Marquise Goodwin is he gets open. None of these guys can get open.
It's bad. This is a very bad football team.
Maybe you get Michael Thomas. I don't know. I seriously don't know.
Yeah, we'll keep dreaming on that one. Although he could be traded on the move, but I don't know.
He could be. I mean, there was some tension in New Orleans. But Zach, that was a lot of negativity about the Eagles. Give us some positive for the weekend. What's going on this weekend? What you got going on?
By the Eagles or myself?
Just yourself. We need some positivity. We got to leave with a positive note.
I don't got much going on. It's not going to be good weather, so I'm not going to be golfing. But something positive. Yes, the Eagles have their franchise quarterback. There are many teams in this league who don't. Hold on. I'll tell you how many teams in the NFL don't definitively have a franchise quarterback. All right? The Patriots don't. The Jets don't. The Raiders possibly don't. The Broncos sure as hell don't. AFC North is taken care of. The Colts don't. The Jags don't. All right? So that's 7 teams. Football team doesn't have. That's 8. Niners possibly. That's 9. Vikings and Bears, 10, 11. Lions, 12. Falcons, possibly. That's potentially 13 football teams already that are having quarterback and question problems, and those teams are all preparing for a rebuild. There is zero reason to do that in Philadelphia. Zero. So you have your franchise quarterback. Don't worry. Trust the process. Let the O-line get healthy. Tank this year. Reassess the front office. Get yourself some more talent for Carson. Get him a quarterback coach that can help him out. There's not much to worry about if I'm an Eagles fan right now, as long as the front office makes the right moves. And I trust Jeffrey Lurie as an owner.
If Howie Roseman has his job come draft time and Doug Pearson is still here, then we get worried.
But that's my positivity for the end of the week. Thank you, everybody, for
my positivity. NBA season comes back really soon.
We've gotten some of the longest shows we've had in a while this week. It's been great. We're having great conversations on here. Other than that, anything else?
Next week.
Hopefully we'll get some special guests next week. I know we're trying to put some things together. With that being said, everybody, thank you again. Have a great weekend. Be smart, be safe, be good people.
Have a good one, everybody.
And unite through sports. Have a good one.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts